And it's a very happy Songkran from Grumpy Old Men. I'm Tim Newton.
I'm Steve Ross.
Not only Steve Ross, but you get an additional E for nothing.
Yeah, I just throw that in
If
as
you
an incentive.
got hold of the American phone book, would you find many Rosses with an E on the end?
No, and I spent 4 years finding every ROSSE in America I
Really?
could. Yeah, I looked for my father. I'd never met the man. And when I had children, all of a sudden, I thought, well, who's my dad? So when we came back to America, I was 40 years old and I was introduced to this thing called the internet, and I started looking. It took me 4 years, but I found him. There's very, very few people who spell it that way, and most of them are Italian Swiss, and they pronounce it Rosse. Having the E and pronouncing it Ross, as far as I've ever been able to discover, is unique to my father's family.
So there you go.
There you go, more than you ever wanted to know.
Steve has his own YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to that channel. And there's a link in the description, and it's also got an email that you can send for some of Steve's what's selling, sex toys and
Exclusively sex toys, yeah. But what I play with may not be what you play with, so be careful.
There are like souvenirs from Boontong's Beach Bar, and there's turtle shells.
That's not. Yeah, we don't really sell merch, but just come look at the channel. I would like that because apparently this is my only claim to fame. Appearing on this show on Tim's channel is my only claim to fame. Another vlogger said that this week.
Are you joking?
So come. No.
Who was it?
Bangkok Pat. Bangkok Pat. Yeah, as well as calling me the C word. He.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the guy doesn't like me. But he says this is my only claim to fame. So prove him wrong. Go to my channel and take a look at one of my videos over there.
What did you do to piss off the
Same thing I always do that pisses off everybody. I expressed an opinion.
Oh.
And it's this thing. There is some weird perception.
He's so laconic.
Yeah, he's usually unmoved by anything. He's got one note, and the fact that I could lift him a little out of that one note, I'm kind of proud of that. I don't know that he's ever called any other vlogger a C word, but the irony is that this is part of that perception that vloggers, YouTubers should not be critical of each other in public. And of course, I go around correcting everybody's grammar, everybody's spelling, syntax, punctuation. And apparently this week, the person who took most offense at that was Bangkok Pat. Next week, it'll be somebody else. And last week, it was somebody different.
I want to see a full exchange. That would be very interesting. Hi, Bangkok Pat.
Hey, Pat.
I'm the nice one, okay?
Yeah, he's the nice one.
Okay.
And I'm just riding your coattails, apparently.
Well, yeah, that's the way I see it.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
Now, we are today at a place that we don't really frequent, and that's partly because neither of us have even the slightest interest or knowledge of how to play golf.
Right, yeah. None, zero.
So we're at the Aquella Golf Course, which is sort of stands out somewhat in Thai Mueang.
Yeah, it's very
because it's classy and it takes up an awful amount of coastal land.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we won't go into that, but sort of unusual for seemingly a private company to be in control of so much very, very nice land.
On the coast, on the water.
Coast.
Yeah, in fact, this is the only place there was any damage, property damage, from the tsunami in 2004. Because this is the lowest bit of land, and they got salty sand on 2 of their fairways, had to resod 2 fairways. That was the only place that the wave breached the berm, the natural berm of sand in front of the beach. So yeah, they are right on the water. And
it's a really super duper world class, classy facility. And we've just had lunch here in a restaurant that sort of here by ourselves. There are quite a few customers outside. I have no idea why.
It's hot.
Oh my
it's
God,
hot today.
Hot.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I said to Steve, Steve, wherever we're going, it's going to be air conditioned.
And there's not a lot of air conditioning in or around Turtle Beach.
No.
So this was what we could come up with.
So here we are. And we brought Bob the duck with us, which prompts me to ask you, how is your turtle?
Bob the turtle is doing very well. This is the live turtle he's talking about that I bought at the New Year fair.
So and it was about that big when he got it. Now it's about that big.
Yeah, turtles apparently grow very, very fast.
What happens when it's 2 meters?
Oh no, it
You're
won't
going to
get
stuff
that
it
big.
and put it on a float.
This is a red-eared slider turtle, and the females can get up to about 18 inches. Males stop at about 12 inches. I won't have any idea for years whether this is male or female, but if it's male,
You could ask it politely.
I have tried, and he or
No
she
response.
is staying mum, pretending that they don't speak English. You've run into that. Yeah.
It's probably not polite in turtle circles to ask the sex of the turtle.
No, they don't like direct questions of any kind at all.
I found the same problem in Pattaya bars when I was asking the bar girls whether they were a boy or a girl. I did not get a good response.
Up to you.
Yes, up to you. We've got a lot to talk about, but it is, of course, the day after the official Songkran Day, which is April the 13th, same day every year. Mm-hmm. And that's the day where Thais celebrate their new year. And they do it, well, in the past, it used to be just gentle water around the hands. Anointing.
Yes.
I anointed a Buddha image in the lotus this week. They've got a lotus there and the Songkran song. Da, 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 da. You know the one?
No, I'm not very musical.
And so I did that. But of course, in the tourist areas, Songkran is more famous for slightly more out of control application of water.
Open warfare.
Yeah, it does get really out of control. But because of that, it has become in itself a tourist attraction.
It's extreme! And we are in the age of the extreme. People are drawn to the extreme.
So I remember 13 years ago when I arrived, you'd go through Tesco in the week before and there'd be like water pistols this big.
Yes.
Now you go there and they're this big, so super soakers with big powerful pumps on them, and they stream about 30, 40 feet.
Yeah, and selling guns as toys, I got a whole problem with that. I don't like educating a public that these things are toys. They're tools, but they're very dangerous tools. It's like selling table saws as toys. It's not safe. It's not healthy.
So we actually recorded this the day before. We're probably going to see a bit of action. You've got I've got my lei here. Hang on, I'll put mine on.
No, I'm pointing out my.
Would you like to anoint me with the?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I'm pointing out this has got. We're talking about these super soakers, and I am wearing them. I'm currently wearing them. So call me hypocrite.
Yes, hypocrite.
And I will be in front of my house tomorrow with a big squirt gun.
I was going to say
shooting everybody who goes by. So yeah, hypocrite times 2.
Wow, Bangkok, Pat. There you go. There's something to really.
There's some ammo
to comment on. So I was going to be out the front with my super soaker and a barrel of icy water. However, I've had another accident this week, Steve.
Yeah, you're prone, man.
I'd show you, except it's on my left foot, and I can't really get my left foot on the table, much as I'd like to. And do you want to see it? There we are.
No.
There we
That's
go. Look
good.
at that.
Yeah, I see. That's grotesque. Yeah.
So
I recommend amputation. I think there's nothing else for it. Could I get a butter knife, please, and make sure it's dirty?
So I was watering the garden at one of the beach houses, and I thought I had a bit of like the coconut stuff on my foot. And mulch. I'm wiping it off with the other foot. It was actually a tiny bit of glass, and I went that long, slash right along the side of my foot. It started bleeding, and I thought, well, I'm going to bleed to death in about 10 seconds. So I'm running through the house, screaming, I've got to get to the doctor, and blood's going everywhere. Got in the car and zoomed off. Luckily, the doctor's only 300 metres away.
He's very close.
And he said, it's not going to be fine. He's put this huge bandage on it. Of course, everybody's saying, what's wrong with your foot, Tim? And it gives me a half hour to tell them.
Yeah, it does. And you have huge feet, so a huge bandage is appropriate.
Oh, it's size 8.
Mm-hmm.
That on top of this, the still big lump there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least nothing bit you this time.
Oh, so that was Dusty, my cat. Oh, and you were introduced to the new member of the Newton household this week.
Yes, I met Daisy.
Daisy.
Daisy, yes. Yeah.
Daisy literally walked in. We're just sitting there inside. Gets on the couch and says, "This is where I'm going to stay." About a 3-month soy dog pup. Lovely dog, beautiful disposition. Decided we have no idea where she came from, but very calm and happy and eats.
Yeah.
When
See, I don't want to burst your bubble, but she was a very healthy looking dog, very sociable. She did not behave like a soy dog. I'm wondering if once you've paid the vet, got her neutered and got her shots, somebody's going to come knock at your door and say, "Yeah, that's my dog. Thank you for finding my dog."
Yeah, I obviously thought about that, and we didn't take her to the vet until she'd been with us for 3 days. I asked around saying, "Does anybody know about a missing dog?" I suspect that she might have been, she's playful, she might have been a bit of a handful for a young family that found the pup, and they've just brought her to the beach and dumped her there.
Yeah,
that's what I think happened. But
yeah, maybe so. Well, but you got a dog. You've got a dog.
Didn't really have a plan to get a dog, but people were saying, you should get a dog living in this like sort of remote beach, and the dog will bark at people when they come. And I thought probably a good idea, but Daisy sorted it out for me.
And how are you you've got a walled compound. You've got a fairly big piece of land.
Yes.
Are you going to keep her inside? Are you going to let her run with the pack on the beach? What are you going to do?
She doesn't seem to really like the beach. We've gone to the beach a couple of times, but she's no great fan of the sand or the waves, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Well, the huge block of land I've got.
Yes,
I've been in talks with the airports of Thailand about building the new Phanga airport in my backyard.
You could build 2 back there. Yeah.
And so it's sort of between, will I let Daisy use it or airports of Thailand? So we're in negotiations.
Yeah.
Can't be both.
She has the stronger position. She's in residence.
She's there.
She has squatters' rights already. So.
But I think, I've always, with all the dogs I've had, had 5 in my life, they've always had run of the house, and I don't sort of believe in putting them out. And they'll sort of sit on the couch and just have to wash the couch a bit more often than we used to. Simple as that. So welcome to Daisy. Yeah. 2 cats not very happy.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, this is why I don't do mammals. I keep fish and reptiles. I don't do mammals. It's too, it's heartbreaking. Eventually you lose them. Either they run away, they get killed by a truck in the road, or they simply die of old age. And I don't want to face that. I don't want to
humans do the same,
Yes, they do, but I don't have a choice about, I've got family. Yeah, but other than that, I'm very, very careful about who I make connections with.
I have to say,
don't touch the table. It's very solid.
It's fairly
isn't it?
solid,
yeah.
This table, so we've done fairly well.
Yeah.
And the other
and the food was pretty great. We may have to come back here again. I am in favor of the food here. If he's buying, I'm in favor of the food.
And it's not overly expensive for a classy, sort of 5-star golf course. It's medium prices, I suppose you'd say.
And the staff is very friendly, and the service was great. And Aquella, if you golf, Art, come on, Steve, Art. Anyway, he comes up here to golf fairly frequently, and he says it's a great course.
Pat.
Good friend of Bangkok Pat.
Yep.
Phuket, Rawai Art. Come on, Steve, Art. What's his? Oh man, names. I just cannot pull names forth anymore.
I'm gonna have to start wearing a name tag.
Yeah, I think so. We're gonna get there, and then you'll feel sorry for me. Finally. McGrath?
Anyway, what about, there's an Art McGrath?
Yes, that's who it is.
Right.
So Art comes up here and plays. Ross came here specifically to in his retirement, improve his golf game. And Ross, his last name I don't remember. Ross is here for the golfing. So it is used, and people do like the course. If that's your bag. I mean, literally your golf bag.
It looks to me like a very well looked after, manicured golf course. Of course, this time of the year, very difficult to keep the grass green because it doesn't rain for sort of 4 months, and everything gets quite parched. But it is looking, well, they've either sprayed it or it's looking great. Mm-hmm. Well done.
I approve. Aquella, you may continue.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about is when we moved into the beach houses, when we eventually got into the backyard and got through the 3-metre weeds, we found a beautiful mango tree. It needed a bit of cutting back. It hadn't been attended to for about 10 years. So we gave it a pretty severe pruning, a bit of a haircut. And I thought, it probably won't produce mangoes for a... Well, this week, the most outstanding, tasty mangoes. Oh yeah.
Good for you.
You had a very good suggestion. I should keep a few for the landlord.
Oh yes. Yeah, I have a lime tree in my backyard that has produced this season 3 limes, and we're about a week away. I think Chamnan says about a week away from picking them, and those are earmarked for the landlord. It's just too good an opportunity to curry favor with someone you may need for something in the future.
Like a re-sign?
Yeah, a re-sign, or hey, I'm going to be a week late. Somebody's doing something with Social Security back in the States, and the check didn't come this month. Who knows? I may need to ask for a favor. So yeah, it's an easy and showy way to curry favor with somebody in authority.
So, as I've said to people say, oh, how do you get these long-term leases in Thailand? Things like that, like a gift, or taking them out to lunch, or
smiling.
It's the relationship that is just as important as the paperwork.
You let somebody off the hook. Like I made sure, I have said before, I've paid twice to have the hinges on the front doors of my house replaced, twice in 18 months. Because the wind in the rainy season just comes off that sea like a freight train. And I have paid for that myself both times. But I have gone to the landlord and mentioned, oh my gosh, the wind is so, when you go pay the rent, well, how are things at the house, everything fine? Yeah, it's great, love the place, but the wind off the sea is so rough. I had to bring that Chang back for a second time to repair the doors for a second time. It's just really windy this year. Okay, see ya. When you let him off the hook for something, now it's a transactional relationship. There is an obligation born of that. He is obliged to you now. He owes you a favor. So any chance you get to do a favor for somebody in authority and point out to them that you're doing a favor, take it.
Well, I did a bit more than replace the hinges.
Yes, you
However, it was in the contract. Look, I think...
As long as he knows exactly everything you've done for his property without being pushy about it. I'm sorry, I never go on.
Well, you're censoring yourself. About time.
I know Pat's watching, that's why. I'm being on my best behavior.
As I said, you're sort of superfluous to the program, really. These building relationships are so important in any business dealings here. As I said, just as important as the paperwork. Because the paperwork really, as I found out with my hotel venture, they just decided they were going to change the contract. And my relationship wasn't good with them. And so I didn't really have anything I just had to walk away from it. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
You've got things to talk about. By the way, if you are doing something interesting for Songkran, if you've got some funny Songkran stories, we'd like to hear about that. Bangkok Pat, what are you doing for Songkran? We might be trolling him now.
All right, we'll stop. That's it. That's the last mention.
It's not, but I'm so surprised. Surprised. Mild-mannered.
I know, yes. That's the last mention. Did you know there's an aspirin shortage in Thailand? Maybe all of Asia.
Ooh.
I have to take, or I am instructed to take 81 milligrams of children's aspirin every day to thin my blood. I've had 2 heart attacks, and I shouldn't be smoking, and so they say take aspirin along with the other blood pressure medicines.
So what, a normal tablet, would you take half a tablet or?
If that's all I can get. They sell children's aspirin 81 milligrams, and adult aspirin's 325 milligrams.
Why is it 81?
Somebody decided that's what an infant can take when he's teething without ruining his liver, I guess.
Okay.
So these 81 milligram tablets are fairly common. And it is what old guys like me are instructed to take to thin our blood. And I went recently to restock, because you buy them in a bottle of like 300. That's a year, right? So you don't have to go back and buy aspirin again for a year. So you come back a year later and no, there's no aspirin in Turtle Beach. There's no aspirin in the Big C in Phang Nga. Super cheap on Phuket. There's no aspirin. There's some kind of worldwide aspirin shortage going on.
Because?
I haven't a clue. Maybe they're getting pressed into bombs in the Ukraine. Maybe they're being shipped to Palestine. I don't know. But it has been impossible for me. A visitor gave me some aspirin she brought from Australia. She just had it in her travel kit. But I've been without for a couple weeks. And if you know a source, let me know in the comments section.
Have you had a look on like Lazada or something?
No, that is not. As I was speaking, that occurred to me, but it had not occurred to me up till now. I rarely shop online because I'm never successful.
I renovated 4 beach houses entirely on Lazada.
Yeah, that's your shizzle. You do that very well.
Yeah.
I do not do that very well.
So this is interesting. If you do know of where Steve can get aspirin, I don't have a need. I used to take aspirin a bit when I was younger. It sort of was the go-to drug. My mother, if there's anything wrong with me, just here, take one of these. And it was aspirin, but usually for headaches and things.
Yeah. Well, there's an old joke that you call a doctor at night, and whatever you say to him at night, it's the middle of the night, he says, "Take 2 aspirin, call me in the morning." And that's the old catchphrase, the old joke. Aspirin was and is a very commonly used drug.
The go-to drug in Thailand seems to be, they call it Sara, that's one of the brands.
Or Para.
Or Para, which is paracetamol, which the brand name in Australia is Panadol. And they used to make a version of it called Panadol Codeine or Panadine, there it is. And it was a bit of paracetamol and a bit of codeine.
Woo! That's Tylenol and Tylenol 3. Tylenol with codeine in the United States, yeah.
Right. Illegal here in Thailand, for things like toothaches or something that's like pretty major, this would knock you out. Good stuff.
Oh, it was great.
But you can't get it here.
No. And I think Tylenol 3 needs a script in the States. I think you need a doctor's prescription for the boosted Tylenol. Shall I continue?
Continue.
We want to thank David and Lowell for the coffee that they sent. Yes. And John Armstrong, who also sent a bag of coffee this week.
Hi, John.
We appreciate I drink coffee all day long. Thus my attitude problem.
Lowell and David are like 1.5 kilo bag or something?
Yeah. John Armstrong too, 1,000 grams in the whole bean. Yeah. So that was very much appreciated. Thank you very much, David and Lowell and John Armstrong.
But if anybody's coming from Australia, 2 words, cherry ripe. I'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
Or if you've got any old books that you're not reading anymore, bring those over. Or any 12-inch LPs for our little. It's not really quite a disco. It's just a beach house with an old turntable, but.
If you have an old disco ball, a mirror ball, bring that.
Yeah.
Stainless. Yeah.
No. We got the soundtrack from The Merry Widow, South Pacific. Like you could wear these.
Bali High is calling.
If you are putting on a stage version of South Pacific in the next couple of weeks, just tell us. But we'll pick up some of these Songkran shirts very cheap, and nothing like a dame would. Never look so good.
Yeah. That is, by the way, available. That movie, South Pacific, is available on YouTube for free. You can watch.
Really?
South Pacific. They got a lot of really good old movies on YouTube.
That is a fabulous movie. If you look at it now, they discovered color filters or something just before the movie, and every single scene is highly colorized. Sort of, blue for the moody scenes and purple for the sad scenes and bright yellow for the beach scenes. It's like Todeo colour, woo, on speed.
It's lush.
It's lush, to say the least.
Shall I go on?
Can I stop you?
No. We had asked the Brain Trust 2 questions last week.
The Library of Congress.
I have written down, honest to God, I actually exerted myself and wrote down some names. Some of you will be disappointed that I didn't write down your name. This is you squeak. You're squeaking the viewers. You're not squeaking me. All right. The question was, when does the smog in the north of Thailand enter the public record? It seems to me like a fairly recent thing, right? Like I said, I last week took my honeymoon in Chiang Mai. My ex and I went up there for 6 weeks with my mother, and spent 6 weeks in Chiang Mai in 1993. And that was January, granted, but nobody was talking. I don't remember anybody talking about the smog in Chiang Mai back in those days. All right, so some people have contributed answers, what they remember. Bruce Scott, and this is in no particular order, Bruce Scott says he read an article that put the problem becoming a noticeable problem 20 years ago. So that would have been to about 2000, right? 2003, 2004?
Yeah,
all right.
I'm thinking it may be a little bit later than that. Certainly when I was doing news when I first arrived 13 years ago, it wasn't something that I sort of recall. As I keep on saying it, it's when they came up with these apps that gave you real-time readings. That's sort of when it became, I think, a news thing, because you could, publish the graph and point to numbers. But interesting, Bruce. Thank you.
We're letting the viewers speak now.
Who?
The viewers. We're letting the viewers speak.
The viewer.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Don't let me duck you. Rocky May says there was no smoke in 2008. I think he came in 2008, and he says there was no smoke in 2008. So that's 15 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
16.
Though James Agnew says that the smoky season was already something being talked about when he came to Chiang Mai in 1966. So he's calling it out as long ago as 1966. Though Mr. Agnew, if he was an adult in 1966, I'll tell you, my memory is pretty spotty from the 60s. So we'll take that for what it is.
And any time after that.
But I can imagine, agriculture was burning stuff in 66, and before that, one of the things that many correspondents pointed out is that in large part, this is due to the switch from rice to sugarcane and corn.
Yeah.
That they produce so much waste, and coming from Iowa, I can tell you, every farm's got a disker. You disc that plant back into the soil after harvest. You can't throw all those nutrients away, and they don't allow burning in Iowa, obviously. And so, and gathering, you've got a 60-acre field. To gather all of that waste product to burn it would be unfeasible. So they disc it into the ground, but they deal with it. It's something with that crop, and sugarcane as well. Sugarcane plants are 20 feet high? And you use the top 5 feet to make something like that to make sugar. So a lot of people.
I remember the lyrics to "Oh What a Beautiful Morning." It talks about how tall
the corn is as high as an elephant's eye.
There you
and
are.
Looks like it's stretching clear up to the sky.
There you are.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Now they're complaining about the noise. James Pettinger puts it at 3 to 4 years only that it's been a problem. And that's all I wrote down. We had some other respondents, and I thank you all. Thank you very much. Nothing definitive has come out of this survey, except that it seems to be within the last 20 years that it has become a health threat.
Sure.
A health threat.
I started banging on about it maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, when I suppose not only sort of found the apps, but so many people were reporting it. The media sort of grabbed onto it as a story, and of course the opposition political parties were using it as fodder. But beyond that, it was clearly becoming a a major public health problem for people living in Northern Thailand. And now, as we speak, actually a few days this week it was a little bit improved, but really over the past 2 months it's been in like the hazardous region. And a lot of people, one of my friends, Jet Gunther, did a YouTube video about it. He flogs real estate, so he was sort of trying to put a bit of a positive spin on it, but it was good to have at least somebody looking at it from a different approach. So I mean, a lot of people now talking about it, and I think it became a danger for people up in the north, maybe from about 10 years ago, and the situation has got worse every year.
Because everybody's talking about it, and nobody does anything about it.
Well, that's pretty much it. And everybody was hoping, the new government, they're going to do something. Well, they've given it the old mirror approach. I'm going to look into that. and they seem to have done a sweet FA, rather than just talking about it and saying they're very concerned.
Yeah,
thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that there is I won't name it, but there's a large agribusiness company in Thailand.
CP All.
Allegedly, who are driving this switch from rice to sugarcane and corn. I don't know. I hope at least this is being discussed in the boardroom of any agricultural, because it begins in agriculture. So I hope that there is at least that conversation going on, whatever may or may not come out of it.
And it's very easy for people to go, this is what you need to do. You need to give the farmers subsidies so they can go out and buy some farm machinery so they can dig it back into the ground. Yeah, great. But these farmers are on these very tight contracts with a huge multinational company that's putting a lot of pressure on them so they can make as much money as they can. I mean, they're a shareholding public company.
That's what companies do.
Sure. So, and there's also just many generations and culture of the way that they used to maintain and grow these crops and what they do before the new plantings. And changing all that is more than just telling them what to do. It's education, which maybe the Thai government doesn't do terribly well.
Maybe not, and messaging is not their strong suit. Also, if you've got a family that for 5 generations has been paid 5 baht a kilo for rice, and now they're getting 7 baht a kilo for sugarcane, they're going to switch, right? They don't feel themselves, I think, to be responsible for the atmosphere of the planet. They're responsible for this piece of land and sending their kids to school and feeding their kids and buying medicine for their mother. And so 5 baht a kilo versus 7 baht a kilo, their choice is very clear. What they're going to do is obvious.
And the bottom's fallen out of the opium market.
I do my best.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, I try to float that market as much as I can, but I'm only one guy.
Now the light is sort of going up and down outside, hence the. So I'm going to see if I can reach behind here and improve. Does that do anything? I don't think it did anything. Anyway, there you go. I think it brought up the codes on the side.
It brought up a menu.
So sorry if we're a bit bright, but I can't get to the controls, and you don't care.
No.
We need a production staff, or several.
Oh, a company masseuse, definitely.
Makeup?
Yeah. I'm a little
hair
stiff.
And makeup.
Hair and makeup. Yeah. Shall I go on?
Well, you do.
I do. We asked the brain. First, let's throw some red meat to the haters. Steve got it wrong. I said I thought the Übermensch, the idea of the Superman, came from Goethe. Nietzsche.
Whoa. The idea of the
Übermensch, the Superman. It was proposed that we are in the process of evolution. We have come from apes to men, and next step is the Übermensch, the Superman. And this was a German philosophical tidbit thrown out there in the last century, and I ascribed it to Goethe, and I think it was Pepe Lemoko who said, no, it's Nietzsche. And so Steve got it wrong.
Well, I was thinking Nietzsche too, but I didn't want to correct you.
And somebody else, thank you, that's very generous of you, Professor.
Sure.
Somebody else asked the question, and I poo-pooed the question. They said, why do we say Got Samui, Got Chang, Got Tao, and we don't say Got Phuket? And I said, oh, but we do say Got Phuket. I hear it and see it all the time. And then I started looking around me. I didn't hear it said. I didn't see it written. Yeah.
I've got an answer for that.
Okay, go on.
My guess, and it was only a guess, I don't know, is that it's a province.
Okay.
The name of the province is Phuket. And so that it gets called Phuket.
Okay.
That was my guess.
Okay.
What's yours?
I don't have a guess. I was certain, like I was certain I saw the bus run over that old lady's legs. I was certain I had heard it called Got Phuket. And the people who live there are certainly Chao Kat. Not that there's many Chao Kat still there. They sold out and left a long time ago. But the people who live on islands are Chao Kat, and the Phuketians used to call themselves that. But yeah, you're right. As a place name, I don't hear it or see it. So I apologize. I don't remember who it was that I poo-pooed. But yeah, you're right. Steve got it wrong. Yeah, people don't say Got Phuket.
And the other thing is that it's only just an island. I mean, you've got, what, 250 metre bridge.
Yeah.
So, and they dredge that area every day to make sure that those two bits of sand don't touch.
Well, it wasn't an island until 700 years ago. The earthquake that sank that bit of land happened 700 years ago. So on the very earliest maps...
I didn't know.
Yeah, the very earliest maps, it's a peninsula. It's a little thumb sticking out there.
Okay.
So yeah, there have been fairly violent earthquakes in this region that have done substantial geographic changes. So,
Speaking of Koh, there are a number of islands around Thailand. One of them I've always known as Koh Samui. This week I had somebody correct my pronunciation, and the way that they wrote it was S-A-M-W-E. How would you sort of say that? S-A-M-W-E.
Well, what he's trying to get at is Samui instead of Samui, and it's always going to be that last syllable's a rising tone.
How would you say it? As
Samui? Samui?
Samui.
Samui. Samui. It's
So
like
you're-
Hua Hin is never Hua Hin, it's Wahin, W-A, Wahin, and Samui. But it's got to be a rising tone. It's not Samui. It's Samui. Wahin.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the important thing. Whether you say Samui or Samui, it doesn't matter. If you get the tone wrong, they're not going to hear it.
Yeah, the thing is that most Thai people, I basically say it the way that they say, which is Samui. Whether it's a rising tone or actually, we'll ask one of these Thai people. Non-cup. How would you say Koh Samui? How do you say?
Got Samui.
Koh Samui?
Yeah.
Yes.
Samui?
Got Samui.
Okay, come on to the camera, say hello. What's your name?
Jiep.
Jiep. Sawadi Pi Mai.
Sawadi Pi Mai.
So, Koh Samui.
Sawadi Pi Mai. Got Samui.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Samui.
Happy New Year to everybody in Koh Samui.
Okay.
And do please hear it is Koh. It's not Ko.
Why
It's not
here?
an aspirated consonant. It's Koh. It's back here. It's a
here we
glottal
go.
stop. It's a
No,
glottal
no.
stop. Koh. Like garage. It's garage, not
what-
garage.
No, non-cup. Non-cup. The other one that we get asked all the time, how do you say Pattaya?
Pattaya.
Pattaya. Pattaya. There you go. For all those haters, thank you.
Thank you, Kaplan.
Thank you very much. Any other words you want?
No, but
Well, I think she's sort of somewhere between what people think. So it's called Samui. So it's got that rising tone at the end.
like a question.
There we go. That's
Yeah.
from the
Name,
horse's mouth.
Address,
Well, not the
date
horse.
of birth. Okay, we don't have to say what is your date of birth. In English, we raise the tone to indicate a question. Name, date of birth. Here, they do the same thing, but it changes the meaning of the word.
Right. So there you go. And that will spark any amount of comments, I'm sure. But
You're wrong.
for all you people that go Pattaya, it's Pattaya.
Pattaya.
Emphasis on the end. Okay.
The artist who did the big concrete turtle in front of our beach here, there's a giant concrete turtle.
On the quadrangle.
Right, on the quad. The artist is named Kunya. His name is Pattaya. His father named him Pattaya for reasons that he will not disclose.
We could only guess.
Yeah. Shall I go on?
Oh, well, you try and stop you.
All right, the last thing I have, Steve is uncivil. That is a common comment. We should put a FAQ on here.
Uncivil.
Uncivil in my response to comments.
Bangkok Pat?
Bangkok Pat. Could be. I'm sure he thinks it. Yeah, it's true, and I apologize.
You are a bit combative.
I am I love an argument. I love an argument. In my family, we used to argue over the dinner table every night. I do come back. I do come back. I'm not retiring and quiet. But I do sometimes it is taken as too brusque, and I apologize. If I've offended you, I apologize. All right?
Don't you love it?
I do. Last.
Hang on, let's talk about that. Because what I've always figured is, and this is after like 5 years of answering or responding or monitoring comments from social media, is if you feed the trolls, if you come back at them, even just to go, oh, thanks for your comment, they will find some reason to keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
And there are some people who have to have the last say. No matter what the comment is, you've spoken backwards and forwards, Hector and Dexter, whatever, and then they've always got to have the last comment. So yeah, and then there are the ones that just want you to come back with something nasty, so they can be even nastier.
Yeah. I love those guys.
If people get one response from me, which is usually tempered, as distinct from what Steve might reply, you're lucky just to get one response, because I get 600-700 comments a day, and I can't possibly answer everybody.
No, you cannot, and I don't get that many, but it has become enough. That was, when I launched my channel, one of the great joys of YouTube. Someone's paying attention to me. He called me a schmuck. He called me a libtard. He called me a woke asshole. Oh my God, he's paying attention to me. Hey, call me a name again. Call me another name. Oh, call me another name. Call me another name. You know, I used to feed the trolls because I loved it. Now it's too much. I can't keep up. There's too many comments.
I was checking the other day who replies most often on my channel. Steve.
Yes. Major, what do they call it? Major contributor? You get some kind of little sticker or something. Yeah. Oh, I love that part. I love that part. Friday and Sunday, I sit in front of the computer, and there's not enough time to thank everybody who makes nice comments, and I feel bad that I'm taking 15 minutes to craft a 1,000-word essay to reply to some numbnuts about some stupid thing, and there's 15 people who said I liked it, and I'm going to give him a thumbs up, you know, or a heart or something, and that's all I can find time to do. But the schmucks, I can find 15 minutes to engage, and I'm trying to wean myself off of that. But if you are a commenter who is complimentary and who enjoys the show and says so, know that I read that, he reads it too, and we do very much appreciate that. Okay.
Most of the time.
Are we still talking about Steve being rude? Are we going to go on with this?
No, well, I could, but
yes.
I won't.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
But it is just one of those things, and I think because we are a little bit older than many of the generation who are more used to the dynamics of sort of social media and the cut and thrust and the backwards and forwards. I mean, we both worked in media in the days where you wrote a story and the newspaper gets published and Dad reads it that night and ends up wrapping up the rubbish in the morning and story's done, next day starts. Now it is a two-way conversation, and I think we both struggle a little bit with trying to work out exactly what we're meant to do.
Yes, and
And everybody thinks they're right these days.
In the day, the newspaper used to get plenty of letters to the editor. This Steve Ross doesn't know what he's talking about. And they would publish or print some of those letters. But before they did, they had to get a name and a phone number that they could verify this person is signing his real name to this letter. There was no anonymous. You could request that your letter be published anonymously, but the editor had to know you were a real person, and they could track you down if anything went wrong. So this hiding behind an avatar and hiding behind a fake name, Minnesota Fats, Sioux City Sioux, a place name and a given name, and that's it. That's all you're known by. Or worse yet, a random string of letters and numbers. There was none of that. You had to take responsibility for what you said.
There's a group of there's a group of I think they're Chinese or South Korean. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I'm sure they speak English.
They were glancing over as your volume was increasing.
Yeah.
As their volume
That'll
is
happen.
now increasing now.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's your fault.
It is a public space that we should.
It is a public space.
Shall I go on to my last point? My last little thing here.
Please, yes.
Yeah. I can't see a clock, so I don't want to run out of time. Because these,
you're okay.
Okay, because
I've got more film in the can.
Oh, good. We asked another question of the Brain Trust. And I want to try to get their responses in. We asked, what do you find weird when you go home? Right.
Right.
And I had said portion sizes. The amount of food that Americans put on our plates is obscene. I don't remember what you said. I'm sorry, I do pay attention to you, but I don't remember what your response was. But at any rate, the Brain Trust has responded. And I didn't write down these names because I knew you were going to drive up and honk your horn. So somebody said, going back to the UK, staffing levels. You walk into a store and there's nobody behind the register. There's nobody in the aisles to help you shop. Everything seems to be running on a skeleton crew, whereas labor is the cheapest commodity in Asia.
I love it when you go to like McDonald's and there's like 17 people behind the thing.
Here, labor is the cheapest commodity, so every place is always staffed. They don't always know how to help you. Sometimes it's the first day they've had the uniform on, and sometimes they're afraid of Falan, and sometimes they honestly don't know what aisle the kitty litter is in. But there's always somebody there. The places there's always.
If you go to like a 7-Eleven, and there's 14,000 of them here in Thailand, plus Family Mart and the other ones, there's always 4 or 5 staff in there any time of the day. There's 3 people behind. There's another 2 packing or unpacking stuff because they've got this continuous, very high turnover of products.
There's one person on the microwave. Just one person doing the sandwiches and the microwave and the coffees.
In the morning, it's very busy with the ham and cheese sandwich toasties and the coffees. And let me say, 25 baht latte at 7-Eleven, pretty good coffee, pretty good value. I rate it.
I will trust you on that.
You've never had a 7-Eleven coffee?
No, I did in Hat Yai when I visited Roy Pat. I did. But like people are sending us coffee in 2-pound bags. No, I drink 6 cups of coffee at home every day. And then if people show up, if guests show up, I said, you want some coffee? If they have coffee, I have coffee again. I can have easily 10 cups of coffee a day in my house.
Why do they call it 7 instead of 7-Eleven?
Say when? I don't know.
They don't call it 7-Eleven here. It's got 7-Eleven on the sign, but they just call it 7. Seven.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because maybe it's because it's got L's in it. They don't like
Might
saying
be, or the
L11.
V. The V is very difficult. So when. Now I don't know. Down here in the South, of course, they cut all the words in half, but I don't think that's in this case. They've cut 2 of the words, 4 words. 2 of them are cut in half. Jipfa is cafe, coffee. Cafe is shortened to fa. Tale is the ocean. They've cut it in half to just la lay.
Okay.
Jipfa. lay. So half of the words are cut in half. That's a southern thing, but I think it's sewen all over the country. I don't think they call it 7-Eleven. Not that I've been all over the country. I don't know. You brain trust?
And is the
enlighten us.
The 7-Eleven in Thailand is open 24/7?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not 7-Eleven, it's
Yeah.
24/7.
Well, I don't know. I think in America the 7-Elevens are open 24 now. It's like Motel 6 is no longer $6 for a motel room. They keep the name, but it's no longer, $6 for a hotel room.
$6. Well, you might find one in Thailand.
The dollar store, things are more than $1 now.
Yeah, sure.
All right, shall I go
We had
on?
a $2 store. One more, because I'm just a bit worried. I can't
No,
turn the light down. I'm sorry.
let me get through all of these people. Somebody said he's surprised when he goes home to America, cops don't take bribes. I want to hear, did you try? I want to hear that story.
Cops don't take bribes in
Bribes.
Bribes.
Yeah, corruption.
Bribes in the US.
I think probably they certainly do. I think there's corruption at high levels of any justice system.
What, you would hide 100 in your
I think probably no.
license
In
or
America, yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I haven't been stopped by a cop in America. I don't remember the
You've
last
been
time I was stopped.
making up for it here.
Yeah, there you go. Empty streets.
Oh, while we're on that, did you get your license?
No, the paperwork is all done. All I have to do is go to the or the Department of Transport
In
Land
Phang or
Transport.
Phuket?
Yeah, Phang. But the paperwork is good for 6 months. This week is Songkran. I'm not going to go into any Karachakan's office
Right.
during the Songkran week, so I'll wait until next week. All I have to do is get a picture taken, and they hand me my license. I'm just not going to do it this week. No. Empty streets. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I'm on your wavelength.
Empty streets. They go home and the streets are empty. Whereas in Bangkok, there's people. There's people everywhere on the streets, in the streets, above the streets, next to the streets. It's very, very crowded at street level in Thailand. This correspondent said at home, no, the streets are empty. Everybody's indoors, which I suppose is. I tried to remember. Certainly in Las Cruces, New Mexico and El Paso, Texas, if they can be in air conditioning during the day, they will be. The streets are at high noon. That's why you had gunfights at high noon in the Old West, because everybody'd be inside.
Is it okay? That's as good a reason as any.
Yeah. How quickly being home starts to feel normal. That's
going to be a
interesting
very
to me.
individual.
Yeah, for 25 years it never felt normal. I went home in 1997. I came back in 2022. I did not feel normal in a single minute of those 25 years. Not
How
once.
long after you arrived back in Thailand did it feel normal back here?
When I stepped off the plane and the humidity and the heat hit me in the face, that was it. That was now I had made 3 survey trips for 2 weeks at each time. During those 25 years, I'd come back 3 times. For my 50th birthday, my mother bought me a round trip ticket to Thailand. She said, "You're too tense, you need to relax, go to Thailand." So I had come back for 2 weeks, 3 times, and each time being back was a transcendental experience. When I got off the plane, read the books. Yeah. Leaving Thailand is the name of the book.
Available at Amazon.
Available at Amazon, wherever quality books about Thailand are sold.
I suspect I couldn't.
น้องจ๊ะขอน้ำเปล่าอีกทีครับ
I
Oh,
couldn't.
she already got some talcum powder on her face.
Ah,
Somebody got her already.
Okay.
We digress. Go on.
I don't think I could move back to Australia.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be happy. I would
Thank you,
certainly
Da.
miss Thailand. We're getting some water, and I think I'm pretty. I'll
Thank
have to
you,
stay
Da.
here now.
Yeah.
Last time I was there, I felt like a tourist, and apart from being horrified by the cost of things and realizing I could never afford to live there, I think I'd be sad.
Yeah, I did my 25 years, and I don't plan or wish to leave again. And I'll leave it right there because we're pressed for time. How loud Americans are. Yes, we are very, very loud. And you go back and you do notice it. I notice it of Farang in general. If I visit Phuket, white people are really, really loud in public.
Can I venture? I'm not American. I'm from Australia.
No.
Yeah, it's true. I'm a half New Zealander, actually.
Did you know?
But I was born in Australia. I do generally, over my years, I have found many American people to be loud.
Yes. We speak more quickly than that, usually. But yes.
Well, I thought if I speak slowly, it may not sound
Take
quite
the
as
sting
insulting.
out. Yeah, no, it didn't work. I'm hurt. I'm hurt deeply. I'm hurt.
So whenever you travel, they just sort of you hear them, you notice them.
Yes.
And it's as much, I think, a confidence and a demeanour as much as a volume.
Yeah.
And they have been travelling for a long time and they do it very well as a wealthy society. Now you've got the Chinese and the Russians who are a bit more new to this sort of world travel, and they have different cultural habits, and some of that is translating into fairly loud behaviour as well. But I think culturally, when I see Americans travelling, it's not so much the volume, but there is a confidence in their demeanour.
Well, and a demand, an entitlement, we can say. Some people read that confidence as entitlement.
Some of them.
I will say, the driving class I took in Phang, there were 60 people in that class, 60. We were there for 8 hours.
Did you have the band?
We had a guy on drums. Yeah, we had a guy on drums.
You went to the same place.
They break it up. They break up the day I think that happens in Thai schools. I think probably anywhere you go, if it's an 8-hour class, they'll break it up. They'll get you on your feet. They'll get you clapping. They'll get you doing hand jive and things like that. They had a contest. One of the guys won 100 baht in a contest. But there were 60 people. 20 were Burmese. 20 were Thai, 10 were Farang, and 2 were Chinese. And, the Farang and the Chinese guys, it was obvious.
Sitting in the back row.
Yeah, and looking at their phones and napping and stuff, because it was all in Thai, and they weren't trying to understand it.
It's exactly the place I went to.
They seemed, and I don't want to say anything about this company, but these people seemed to assume that they were going to pass and get their license whether they paid attention or not.
That's all I was told.
But the 2 Chinese fellas were talking in these big loud voices. And because I was trying to understand, this is an 8-hour long language lesson, right? And you can hear, just to pick out when the teacher is speaking in Southern Thai and when the teacher is speaking in Central Thai, even if I don't understand the words, just to be able to hear the difference between those 2 dialects, it was fascinating to me. And I listened for the whole 8 hours. I got 1 word in 10. But I listened, and these 2 guys over my shoulder, these 2 Chinese guys, just yakking it up. And they were businessmen, because when they came in, one of them spoke Thai to the teacher. So they're not tourists. These are 2 guys doing business in Thailand somewhere. And they wouldn't shut up. Probably legally. They wouldn't shut up. So at one point, I looked over my shoulder and went like that, just like that. And one of these guys gave me a look like, I could have you whacked, right? You want me to be quiet? Dude, I can buy and sell you 10 times. He seemed very affronted that I would suggest he perhaps be quiet so that we could hear the lesson.
That might
just
mean
throw that
something,
out there.
That might be something rude in Chinese. Who knows?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might be rude. Or come on, who knows?
It might have been something that Bangkok Pat would say.
Yeah. So,
who knows?
Now we're flogging a dead horse.
It's called a running joke, Steve.
Yeah, it is a callback. It's a callback in the biz. No street food. What's weird when we go home? No street food. Which in Las Cruces, New Mexico, or Iowa City, Iowa, I don't remember any. New York City has hot dog carts and knish carts, but no street food as it is known here.
They do fruit shakes here as well.
Yes, they do fruit shakes here.
Well, no street food in America. Some people may argue that there's no such thing as food in America.
Well, now that I think of it, there are taco trucks and other food trucks on the streets of some larger cities in America. But this idea that, anybody here can put a card table out front, make a bunch of noodles, and sell kanom teen. Anybody. You don't need a license. You can just make a big pot of food and put it in front of your house and sell it. And that we don't have. The health department would come shut you down very quickly.
Yeah.
Driving on...
I was going to say, street food is sort of ubiquitous in most of Southeast Asia.
Probably.
Yeah. Indonesians, they do great street food.
I have no experience of anywhere but here. So I mean, not for 35 years, I don't. Driving on the right, for me, I do remember going home and having to remind myself and getting in the car. I do this here all the time. I get in the wrong side of the car. I get in.
What are you doing, Steve? What are you doing?
I get in the driver's side. I never drive here, but I get in because that's the side of the car the passenger gets in on.
Well, luckily in Australia, we drive on the correct side of the road as well.
You guys, we should learn from you. We should really learn from you. That is it. That is everything from the Brain Trust.
Well, the Brains Trust, thank you very much for providing all the fodder for today's program. Hopefully I think I've insulted American people far too often today. It's all done in good humour, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And no, it's fine. I loved it. Next week we do Australians.
Or not.
In your comments, throw me some Australian insults.
Oh, you fill the show.
Yeah, I love it.
That's when I sort of err on my Kiwi side of my my heritage.
They got orcs there, man. Who could live there? There's orcs and dragons and stuff. Who can live in New Zealand?
You haven't been to New Zealand?
I have never been anywhere but Iowa City, Iowa, Las Cruces, New Mexico, and Thailand.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
I mean, since childhood.
The South Island of New Zealand is just one of the most spectacular places in the world. If you haven't been there.
Orcs. That's the gates of Mordor, man. Don't go in there.
So as the sun gets continually brighter and our picture gets brighter as well, one day we can afford a real camera rather than using my iPhone. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you for having me. This is my big show. This is
Sawadipi Mai.
Sawadipi Mai Cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
now, as I am elder, you should anoint my hands with some fragrant water. No, put some lotus blossom, not lotus.
What?
Jasmine. Put some jasmine in that. These youngsters these days, they don't know how to respect their elders.
I was going to join in the Songkran, but because of my new injury on my foot, I'm going to. I was going to have fun. The kids around Thailand, they're going to be running around with.
You can do it right in front of your house.
I was going to have a lot, but no,
you don't have to go anywhere.
I'm going to have to stay inside and just sort of look out the curtains, wistfully wondering if people are having fun.
I will have your portion of fun.
Thank you.
Since you won't be using it, I will have your portion.
But subscribe to Steve's channel. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Also, while you're at it, subscribe to Bangkok Pat.
Sure.
He's
the best at what he does. Honest to God, he is the best at what he does.
And I was very surprised to hear what you said about it. But there you go.
I provoke people. I bring out the worst in people. It's my gift.
Like me. You definitely bring out the worst in me.
Yeah, it's my gift.
Have a great week. And Sawadipi Mai. I mean, if you probably don't celebrate Songkran, you're still getting over Easter. We now sort of start dipping into two things. One is sort of a quieter tourist season here in southern Thailand, and in the next couple of weeks, God, I hope so, it should start raining.
I hope so too.
Because it has been unbelievably hot. And we're suffering.
Courage, Camille.
We'll be taking around the hat for air conditioning.
Yeah.
You don't have air conditioning at all, do you?
No, my bedroom is air conditioned, and I turned it on for 5 or 6 or 7 nights. And I told you my eustachian tube didn't act up for those 6 or 7 days I was sleeping in air conditioning. I have stopped sleeping in air conditioning, and my tube is screwed up again.
Well, there you go.
There I go.
There's something there.
Yeah.
I've been sort of spending half my days in the bedroom, which is the only room with air conditioning, because the air outside, it's not the house, it's just everywhere, unbelievably hot. Like,
yeah, 2 o'clock in the
Air
afternoon,
dryer in
3
the
o'clock
face.
in the afternoon, it's impossible.
yeah. Guess what? It's 2 o'clock now, we're going outside. Thank you for joining us on Grumpy Old Men. Steve's got his, what's your video about this week? What did you speak about?
Oh,
Harems.
I read a story. I read a story from an old book.
One of your books?
About a yes, one of my books. Like I would promote anybody else's book. It's a story about a traffic accident, a motorcycle accident on Phuket 35 years ago, and I was reminded of it by a recent motorcycle accident on Phuket, and I thought this story was still relevant, and I think it is still relevant. I think it still reads very well.
People have had accidents on Phuket roads since that time.
Yeah, every day.
And we
Every day.
report it just about every day too.
Every day.
Thanks for watching. Have a great week, and we'll see you with more Grumpy Old Men next Sunday.
Wadipi mai.